Hello, my name is Felipe Echeverri Velasco, Project Assistant of Blue Shield Germany. Thank you for joining us today. This interview is the last in a series of videos we have been doing for the social media campaign, Trafficking Culture, Voices of the 1970 Convention. The campaign was made on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the 1970 UNESCO Convention on the means of prohibiting and preventing the illicit import, export, and transfer of ownership of cultural property. For this, Blue Shield Germany jointly worked with students from BTU Cottbus in collecting different international perspectives through interviews. In that collaboration, the discussion was opened on the current fight against illicit trafficking. It is my pleasure to talk to Elisabeth Korinth today as one of the initiators of this campaign. Elisabeth is the current Vice President of the German National Committee of Blue Shield, an organization advocating for the protection of cultural heritage during armed conflict and disasters. The committee was founded in 2017 and works under the umbrella of Blue Shield International, who since 1996 works to protect the world's cultural heritage. Hello, Elisabeth. It's good to see you, and thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
Hello, Felipe.
In this interview, we have 4 questions for you. So let us get started with the first question, Elisabeth. The first question I have for you is regarding Blue Shield Germany and the convention. I would like to know, what connection does Blue Shield Germany have with the 1970 convention?
Yes, that's a very good question. So Blue Shield Germany was founded on the idea of creating a network that unites national actors in the field of heritage protection and disaster and risk management, and serve as a communication platform to exchange expertise and experience. And Blue Shield Germany has a very strong board, as you have just mentioned, with actors coming from different fields and bringing in different perspectives. And we believe that in bringing together all these perspectives, we can strengthen our ability to react both in times of conflict and peace in a holistic manner. With regards to the 1970 convention, Blue Shield Germany obviously does not have a mandate to enforce the implementation in Germany, because our work is underpinned by the 1954 Hague Convention on the protection of cultural property in the event of armed conflicts. But when we talk about cultural property protection in the event of armed conflict, what we really talk about is heritage becoming vulnerable to a variety of threats, such as deliberate destruction, neglect, vandalism, and also illicit trafficking. So we need to come to an understanding that the 1970 convention affects all of us. It somehow transcends the boundaries to all other conventions, in such that World Heritage Sites suffer from looting, underwater heritage is being exploited and illicitly trafficked. The loss of cultural objects impacts the way we can practice or express living traditions, and history has shown us when there is a time of crisis, then there is a rise of cultural property being illicitly trafficked, and that enters the global market. So Blue Shield wants to support each actor that is actively engaged in the implementation of the 1970 convention and the fight against illicit trafficking, and we want to use our platform to raise awareness on these issues.
Very enlightening that relation being made there between the work that is directly linked to Blue Shields and the 1970 convention. So thank you for that. I want to ask more about the study project character. Can you tell us a bit more about the study project itself, the social media campaign, the students, and everything that is happening regarding this campaign?
The study project was developed on the idea of bringing together students from the heritage field to discuss the 1970 convention on the occasion of its 50th anniversary and reflect on the connection the convention has with their own field of profession. And this was particularly interesting, as we have organized the study project together with the World Heritage Program of the University of Cottbus, the Brandenburg University of Technology in Cottbus-Senftenberg. And this program focuses on a UNESCO convention, but it is actually the 1972 convention concerning the protection of the world's cultural and natural heritage. So the aim of the project was to basically bring the discussion about the convention to a group of students who do not necessarily talk about the convention in the framework of their studies or work with the convention in their field of profession. And secondly, The study project was framed in a way that students would learn how to practically communicate heritage and really look at digital tools and ways of communication. So a lot of the work that we have been doing within the project was learning how to develop and implement a social media campaign, how we can communicate visually. And I think that's where you, Felipe, have been a really great part in teaching the students how to think visually and how to summarize content and make it appealing to attract an audience. And also Nicole Franceschini, who was organizing the campaign from the university side, has brought in her perspective and expertise on social media issues. Because we can talk a lot about heritage and the convention, but if people from outside of our field do not understand what we're talking about, we're doing a bad job. And the other goal was really to get in touch with growing professionals, strengthening our relationship, or the relationship that Blue Shield Germany has with other universities, and also giving the students the possibility to gain insights into our work as a relatively new committee. And I have learned a lot in this process as well. We have benefited a lot from the perspectives of the students and their expertise and talents in being creative, in creating this, developing this social media campaign.
Thank you. Very, very interesting how this campaign has managed to build the campaign around an academic problem. I think that's a great success of the campaign. For me, it was a very enriching experience as well. It was a great group of students to work with, and students always have like fresh ideas and new perspectives. So for me, it was a pleasure. For my next question, I want to ask, how did you select your interview partners, and what perspectives did they contribute to the campaign?
Well, in our campaign, we really try to include a diversity of fields and actors who are all working on the implementation of the 1970 Convention. So in the beginning, the students had compiled a list of diverse actors they wanted to interview, including researchers, international organizations such as ICOM, national NGOs like the Egyptian Heritage Rescue Foundation, but also actors from the political arena. So, for example, one of our students was able to discuss with the Minister of Canadian Heritage how Canada implements the Act. And then we also wanted to bring in critical perspectives who talk about the gaps of the convention and the work that still needs to be done to strengthen and further develop it. So it was very important for us to also talk to Professor Chika Okeke-Agulu, who was bringing his perspective with regards to colonial looting and the gaps that the convention has with this regards. And then we have also targeted actors that do not directly work with the convention. I remember that you had a very interesting conversation with the chairwoman of the Commission for Provenance Research of the German Library Association. And she works mainly with the Washington Principles, but was discussing how these principles have impacted the development of provenance research in Germany, and then also impacted, of course, the 1970 Convention and the implementation of this convention in Germany. So maybe to summarize this, the campaign is really a mosaic of voices that seeks to show the richness and diversity of voices that are out there when we talk about the convention, and really shed light on the people who are practically working with it in their daily life.
I think it was very successful also in a geographical way to work with people from Canada, from Africa, from Europe context. It was very mixed. And yes, my conversation with Michaela was enlightening. Was there a specific statement or a specific position that stood out in the framework of this campaign that you would like to comment about or acknowledge in a special way?
Oh, that's difficult because every interview partner contributed a very important perspective. And I think it's always in seeing them all together that we can see the reality of the convention and how it plays out in reality. And of course, there are a lot more important actors that we could not interview. But maybe in the framework of our study project, what stood out for me the most was a conversation one of our students had with Dr. Donna Yates, in which she was talking about the fact that a lot of heritage professionals, such as archaeologists or paleontologists, do not know about the convention. And I think she was raising a very valid point here, in such that the articles of the convention should be read across different disciplines, and they have to be part of their curriculum. Because when it comes to illicit trafficking, we often leave the responsibility to politics and law enforcement, and we miss the shared responsibility that we all have when it comes to this issue. we need to keep our eyes open for what's happening around us and should not get blinded by the boundaries of our own field or our own profession. Because when we stay in these boundaries, that's when we start ignoring or missing the fact that we're still living in a network society, that our work is deeply intertwined with politics, with social issues, with histories and law. And that's why having the celebration of the 50th anniversary in the framework of a digital event under the theme of multilateralism is so important, because this issue is not only a concern that needs an interdisciplinary approach, but it is an issue that goes beyond national borders and shows us once again how interconnected we are. So we cannot solve this problem without stepping out of our own boundaries, and we need to find ways to support each other. And I think that was the main aim of our project, to really also see how the different institutions that are represented in our board can support each other on the means of protecting heritage with regards to the 1970 convention.
Elisabeth, I believe those were the questions for you. I think you just mentioned the importance of interconnectivity and working together. I think this campaign showed that, and I think it could be considered a success. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. Thank you for the hard work in this campaign, to you, to all the students, to the collaborators, and yeah.
Yes, thank you as well. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank you for supporting us as the project assistant with your great graphical work, and also the creativity and the positive spirit you always brought into our digital meetings with the students. And of course, I would also like to thank Nicole Franceschini, who was organizing the whole campaign and project from the university side. We have really learned from her expertise in social media tools and her profession working in the World Heritage field. And of course, I would like to thank all of the students who were involved in supporting us, doing the interviews with the various actors, and also preparing the social media campaign with posts and graphics. So my thank really goes to Dipanita Banik, Mathilde Bretz, Mary Kane, Tanya Contrucci, Idil Gümüz, Mithali Gupta, Tatiana Vanessa Sanchez, and last but not least, Asad Farah. Thank you all for your great work. And last but not least, of course, this campaign would have not been possible without the support of the German Federal Foreign Office. So I would like to express my gratitude to them as well. Thank you.